a recap of week 3, in which I finally moved on from lines and went to shapes. I started with circles because I have the most practice with that, so I wanted to start with then, for me at least, the easiest shape. And the first day I drew the infinite circles, since I had so much fun last week with drawing the infinite shapes and stuff like that, I couldn't stop myself from doing the same with circles. It really made me realize that drawing circles, especially larger ones, are still pretty difficult, even if you have some experience drawing circles. And you can see that, like, how bigger they become, like how less they look like a circle. So yeah, so how bigger they became, how harder it was for me to make like the circle shape. So it looks pretty simple, but drawing a circle is actually kind of hard. And yeah, like I said, like how bigger they are supposed to be, how harder I found it to really kept it in that shape. Then the next day I drew some lines on the paper, and then I tried to draw circles in between them. Like with the smaller ones, I think they turned out pretty well, but again with the bigger ones, it became very difficult to shape them between the lines. Because if you don't start out well from the start, you kind of have to like see, this is like more straight on top than it's rounded, or they got more like an ellipse shape instead of a circle shape. So I found it difficult to draw like the perfect circle within the constraints of those lines. So I would advise this as an exercise. It was, yeah, a pretty good exercise. Much more difficult than I expected it to be, actually. Yeah. Then I did a similar exercises with the lines, but instead of like straight lines, you would have a little bit of a curved line, causing your circles to become bigger and smaller. And I also added it up with like smaller circles in between to, yeah, really just continue to draw circles in all shapes as much as possible. Yeah, you can see that again, like the bigger ones, they didn't turn out like this is not, this is more like an ellipse than a circle. So I guess if I would practice circles more, I would choose to practice like drawing bigger circles and making them like a better shape. And then this day was my challenge day, on which I filled like an entire page with circles. Yeah, and I honestly, if there is something I have learned after this week of drawing circles, it's like the fact that if you want to learn how to draw a circle, you can't do anything more than just draw circles over and over and over again. Yeah, it's still the best way. I know it sounds really boring, and it would be nice if there's like a shortcut, draw a circle better, but honestly, for most of the things, it's just like, just have to practice and keep drawing them over and over and over again until you manage to draw them properly. So this is what I tried with this exercise. Actually had a lot of fun, and I tried to draw like different sizes, so I got all the practice in that I could. Now, the next day, like I saw this exercise on YouTube, and I thought like, oh, it might be nice, like then I can add some like perspective on which like you have here full and then like the side a little bit. It was hard to draw, definitely because I tried to make like this side and this side the same, so like a little bit of symmetry, and I have a lot of difficulty with symmetry. I find it hard to like redraw the same thing on each side. So it was a good exercise, but it didn't turn out as cool as I expected it to. And then I drew this, which turned out like way cooler than I expected. I thought I was just going to draw like one tiny circle here and then interlocked circles, and each time draw the circle a little bit bigger but interlocked with the other one. And yeah, I didn't really realize it until I had drawn it, but because I started out small and then went bigger, I put in a little bit of perspective, and so I think it looks like really cool in the end. I had planned to only draw like 4 lines, but I also added this one because I thought I could use the exercise, because it was like a day that I had a really hard time like drawing proper circles. So it was like, yeah, I'm going to draw some more circles just to get in the practice. So yeah, I guess this is my favorite drawing of the week. It just shows that even with circles you can make nice things, and that when you set out with an idea of your drawing, it doesn't always turn out how you planned it to be, and that can be, in this case, a very good thing. Could also be a very bad thing, like it not turning out how you want it to be. But yeah, so try something new sometimes and let yourself surprise you. And then this was my final drawing. As final drawing, I had set out an exercise in which I wanted to draw like a character with just using circles and an ellipse. I'm sorry, that just looked weird otherwise. I guess I drew some kind of teddy bear, something like that. I didn't think it turned out pretty well. I don't know. I don't think it looks like a monstrosity, but like, yeah, no, I do not like it that much. And since I like noticed after I drew this, I hadn't drawn that many circles. I drew the figure several times again just to get in some exercise. So that's why you can see that they also have different shapes. So yeah, this was my closing drawing for circles. It was kind of a bit of a sad closing since I wasn't that happy with the drawing. But yeah, that's part of the process. Not all drawings are going to be good and I won't like everything. So yeah, that was my week of drawing circles. Definitely going to get in some more exercise in drawing circles, like doodle while I have some piece of paper or something, so I can really learn to make like proper circles, like definitely the larger sizes. And this week I will be starting with a new shape, squares and rectangles. So they're really close to lines, so hope it works out well. And if you're interested in that, you can follow me here on the channel. See you next week. Bye.